Welcome to the Backstage Vault, where we dive deep into the heart of music history, unearthing the legends, the myths, and the glittering truths behind the sounds that shaped our world. Today, we're cranking up the volume and dialing back the clock to the flamboyant, outrageous, and utterly mesmerizing era of the 1970s. So, strap on your platform boots, smear on that glitter eyeliner, and let's embark on a journey to the glitzy, glamorous world of glam rock. In the early 70s, as the world spun in the throes of social and political upheaval, a new sound exploded onto the music scene, one that dared to challenge the norms and redefine what rock could be. This was glam rock, a genre that married the raw energy of rock and roll with theatrical flair, androgynous fashion, and an unapologetic embrace of fantasy and spectacle. Glam rock stars, with their larger-than-life personas, flamboyant costumes, and infectious tunes, became the architects of a world where anything seemed possible. They were the Pied Pipers of the party, leading a procession of fans into a realm of endless night and neon light, where the only rule was to be yourself, whoever that might be. From the strutting swagger of T-Rex to the alien alter ego of David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust, glam rock was a celebration of excess, of fantasy, and, above all, of the sheer joy of being outrageously, wonderfully, uniquely alive. As the 60s drew to a close, the world was changing. The optimism of the early part of the decade had given way to a more cynical awareness, fueled by political unrest, the Vietnam War, and a growing disillusionment with the status quo. Music, always a reflection of societal shifts, began to morph in response. The psychedelic sounds of the 60s, with their dreamy escapism, started to blend with harder rock elements, setting the stage for something entirely new. Enter the era of glam rock, a genre that would take the disillusionment of the time and spin it into a glittering spectacle of joy, rebellion, and theatricality. The roots of glam rock can be traced back to a desire among artists to break free from the constraints of traditional rock music and its increasingly formulaic presentation. Musicians and bands began experimenting with their sound, incorporating influences from theater, art, and fashion into their performances. The goal was not just to play music but to create an experience, one that engaged the audience visually and emotionally as well as audibly. Artists like David Bowie, Marc Bolan of T, and later, bands like Roxy and Slade, were at the forefront of this movement. They pushed the boundaries of rock music, incorporating elaborate costumes, makeup, and stage personas into their acts. Bowie's Ziggy Stardust persona, for example, wasn't just a character, it was a statement on identity, alienation, and the very nature of stardom itself. Similarly, Marc Bolan with his boas, glitter, and satin, turned every T-Rex performance into a spectacle that defied gender norms and embraced a new level of showmanship. Fashion played a crucial role in the glam rock movement. The outlandish outfits and makeup were more than just attention-grabbing, they were an integral part of the glam rock identity. This blending of music and fashion challenged societal norms, blurring the lines between male and female, reality and fantasy, in a way that had never been seen before in the mainstream. Glam rock was, in many ways, a response to the darkness of its time, a defiant burst of color and light. It offered an escape, a fantasy world far removed from the social and political turmoil of the era. In doing so, it didn't just entertain, it transformed. For a moment, on the stage and in the hearts of fans, the world was a place where the only limit was one's imagination. This spirit of rebellion, of pushing against the confines of what rock music and its performers could be, was what truly marked the rise of glam rock as a pivotal moment in the history of popular culture. Glam rock, with its dazzling fusion of music, fashion, and theatricality, carved a niche in the 70s music scene that was as distinctive as it was revolutionary. At the heart of glam rock were several defining features that set it apart from other genres, creating a spectacle that was impossible to ignore. Perhaps the most visually striking aspect of glam rock was its fashion. Sequins, glitter, platform shoes, and an array of flamboyant costumes dominated the stage, creating a visual feast that was as much a part of the show as the music itself. This fashion wasn't just about standing out, it was a form of expression, challenging traditional gender norms and societal expectations with androgynous and often extravagant outfits. David Bowie, in his Ziggy Stardust phase, epitomized this with his otherworldly personas, while artists like Marc Bolan dazzled audiences with his glittery, glam attire. Musically, glam rock was diverse, blending elements of rock, pop, and even proto-punk into a sound that was catchy, accessible, and designed for the top of the charts. Songs often featured strong hooks, anthemic choruses, and a sense of immediacy that made him irresistible. The music was bold and theatrical, with artists using their songs as vehicles for storytelling, often weaving elaborate narratives that transported listeners to fantastical worlds or offered commentary on the glam lifestyle itself. The live performances of glam rock artists were events unto themselves, characterized by elaborate staging, dramatic lighting, and a level of theatricality that blurred the lines between concert and performance art. Artists like Alice Cooper took this to the extreme with shocking stage shows that included guillotines, snakes, and fake blood, pushing the envelope of what a rock performance could entail. This theatricality extended to the personas adopted by artists, who often embodied characters or alter egos on stage, creating a sense of mystique and fantasy that became a hallmark of the genre. The themes explored in glam rock were as diverse as the genre itself, ranging from explorations of identity and sexuality to escapist fantasies and social commentary. The lyrics often reflected the tumultuous times, offering both a critique of society and a means of escape from it. The androgynous and flamboyant aesthetics of glam rock also played a significant role in challenging conventional notions of gender and sexuality, making it a pioneering force in the broader cultural conversations around these issues. As the glittering wave of glam rock swept through the music scene of the 70s, a constellation of stars emerged, each adding their unique sparkle to the genre's luminous legacy. Central to this movement were artists whose innovation and flamboyance would forever change the landscape of rock music. David Bowie stood at the vanguard of glam rock, his creation of Ziggy Stardust becoming a defining moment for the genre. Through albums like The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and The Spiders from Mars, Bowie explored themes of fame, identity, and alienation, weaving these into anthemic tracks such as Starman and Ziggy Stardust. His chameleonic transformations and daring exploration of gender and identity not only captivated audiences but also set a new standard for what a rock star could be. Simultaneously, Marc Bolan of T injected a sense of whimsicality and infectious energy into the glam rock scene. Hits like Bang a Gong, Get It On, and 20th Century Boy were more than just songs. They were invitations to a glitzy, fantastical world, with Bolan's glittery, bohemian persona leading the charge. His poetic lyrics and flamboyant stage presence became synonymous with the glam rock aesthetic. Sweet, with their harmony-laden tracks and catchy melodies, brought a harder edge to the genre. Songs such as Ballroom Blitz and Fox on the Run showcased the band's ability to blend rock's raw energy with pop's catchy sensibility, creating anthems that were impossible to ignore. Their contributions helped cement glam rock's place in the pantheon of pop culture. Slade, known for their raucous anthems and crowd-pleasing performances, offered a more grounded, working-class take on glam rock. Their chart toppers, like Come On Feel the Noise, were imbued with a party-like energy that resonated with fans across the globe. Slade's approachability and straightforward rock and roll ethos made them beloved figures within the genre. Roxy music brought an element of sophistication and avant-garde artistry to glam rock. Under the leadership of Brian Ferry and the innovative vision of Brian Eno, the band melded stylish rock with electronic experimentation. Tracks like Virginia Plain and Love is the Drug not only expanded the musical boundaries of glam rock but also highlighted its potential for artistic depth and innovation. Together, these artists and their timeless anthems wove the rich tapestry of glam rock, each thread a vibrant expression of rebellion, fantasy, and theatricality. Their legacy is not just in the unforgettable melodies or the iconic fashion but in their shared spirit of pushing boundaries and redefining what rock music could represent. Through their contributions, glam rock remains a glittering milestone in the history of music, a testament to the power of flamboyance and innovation in crafting the soundtrack of an era. The flamboyant spirit of glam rock didn't fade with the closing of the 70s. Instead, its influence rippled through the decades, shaping the sound, style, and ethos of countless genres and artists that followed. The legacy of glam rock is a testament to its revolutionary impact, not just on music, but on fashion, culture, and the very concept of what it means to be a rock star. The immediacy and rebelliousness of glam rock laid the groundwork for the punk movement that emerged in the late 70s. Punk took the DIY ethic, the defiance against the mainstream, and the raw energy of glam, stripping it down to its bare essentials. Yet, it's impossible to overlook the glam influence in punk's theatricality and in artists like the New York Dolls, who blended punk's aggressiveness with the flamboyant aesthetics of glam. As we moved into the 80s, the echoes of glam rock were unmistakable in the new wave and post-punk movements. Bands like Duran Duran and The Cure, with their meticulously crafted images and synthesizer-driven sounds, owed a debt to the theatricality and stylistic innovation of glam rock. These genres took the experimental spirit of glam, blending it with electronic music and a new, polished image that dominated the airwaves and MTV. The most direct descendants of glam rock, however, can be found in the glam metal bands of the 80s. Groups like Motley Crue, Poison, and Twisted Sister took the glitzy aesthetic, anthemic hooks, and hedonistic themes of glam rock and injected them with a dose of hard rock and metal, creating a genre that dominated the decade. Their larger-than-life stage shows, extravagant fashion, and anthemic music were a clear homage to the glam rock pioneers of the 70s, proving that the genre's influence was far from over. Beyond music, glam rock's impact on fashion has been enduring. Its celebration of androgyny, flamboyance, and individual expression has continually resurfaced in fashion trends, inspiring designers and fashionistas to push the boundaries of gender and style. The visual language of glam rock, with its mix of the futuristic and the fantastical, continues to influence contemporary fashion, signaling a rebellion against the mundane and a celebration of uniqueness. Glam rock, with its daring fusion of music, fashion, and theatrical performance, challenged the conventions of the rock genre and broadened the possibilities for what artists could express and achieve. Its legacy is evident in the diversity of music and fashion it inspired, a reminder of a time when rock dared to dream in technicolor. Glam rock's influence endures as a beacon of creativity and individuality in music and beyond, ensuring that its glitter will never truly fade. As the last notes of our glam rock journey fade into the echoes of history, it's clear that the genre's impact is anything but ephemeral. From the glitter-drenched stages of the 70s to the myriad forms of expression it inspired in the decades that followed, glam rock has proven itself to be a pivotal force in shaping the cultural and musical landscape. We've seen how glam rock was more than just music. It was a movement, a dazzling spectacle that challenged norms, broke barriers, and celebrated the art of flamboyance and theatricality. Its pioneers, from David Bowie to Marc Bolan and beyond, didn't just entertain. They transformed, leaving a legacy that continues to inspire artists, designers, and music fans around the globe. The influence of glam rock extends through the raw energy of punk, the stylistic flourishes of new wave, and the bombastic anthems of glam metal, touching everything from fashion to the way we think about identity and performance. Thank you for joining us on this glittering journey through the heart of the 70s rock scene. Until next time, keep the spirit of glam alive in your hearts and playlists. This has been the Backstage Vault, reminding you to always shine on, you crazy diamonds.